Okay, folks, welcome back to Sailing Prepper. I'm going to cover a topic I seem to like Bitcoin. I'm also going to cover TikTok in this a little bit. Okay? So, when we're talking about Bitcoin, we might as well start at the beginning. Okay? And if you go all the way back to the early days of currency, it's what I would call the original people's currency. Why do I call it the people's currency? Well, the people's currency originally was shells and little trinkets and stuff that people used to barter for. It's very difficult to carry around all your goods, so when you want to trade, it was easier to use beads and shells and things like that. But it was something that was agreed upon by local people, no governments. Okay? Then, as time went by, they used gold and silver, most likely because it was harder to get a hold of and harder to fake. You walk down to an ocean and you pick up some seashells and you're a rich man. uh, but, things like that. And then governments came in. We had, kings, queens, all that stuff. And they decided to mint coins. And they were generally gold and silver and precious jewels or whatnot. And they did that, and that was considered fiat because, well, it was under government control. But it was still hard money because there was a finite system to get it. And then they minted coins out of metal, and it started turning more into fiat. This is government control, government manipulated. They could take your money, things like that. Well, that's what Bitcoin is against. Bitcoin is the people's money, and so is cryptocurrency of any kind. So if you're not a fan of Bitcoin, but you're a fan of Ethereum or any of the others, fine. Because it's not the people's money. Because it is the people's money. It's not the government's money. That's why it's a great thing. Because let's say you have people in another country. You can now send them money without having to go through all the hoops and the hoo-has of government. With cryptocurrency, you can. It's open, and instead of banks and government controlling it, which I think is a wonderful thing due to the fact that your banks and your government are quite dangerous in this particular case. Take a look at the $2 trillion since 1998 till now that they've said has been laundered and went to ISIS, went to $2 trillion went to ISIS, terrorists of all different kinds, human trafficking. It went to drugs. It went to all these illegal organizations. And our own banks, the big banks, the head of the honchos, HSBC and other ones, have actually done this. They laundered all this for people to the point of $2 trillion. This has actually come out in the news recently. So, at least with Bitcoin, you have a ledger and you have people that are doing what's called crypto mining, and they're actually dealing with this. Now, I've heard from a couple of friends of mine that they're getting into an investment thing with a group investment of some type where basically large amounts of people are getting together to buy Bitcoin in some type of pool. Now, I'm not from their country, so I don't know how legitimate this is. But to my knowledge, if you want to purchase Bitcoin, you get a Bitcoin wallet. Okay. You go onto an app like the Cash App, which is one of the apps I use. Or you go to one of the other apps. There's hundreds of them, and you find a legitimate one. And you could do that. Another thing, which is good news, is PayPal is starting to, even though it's not for people in the US, which kind of makes me sad, hopefully they will switch around and we will eventually be able to do it. PayPal is getting to the point where they're allowing people to purchase Bitcoin. They've made a deal in Europe. And so if you could purchase Bitcoin through PayPal, that's a wonderful thing. Okay? I'm dying for it to come here. Be international everywhere. That would drive up the price of Bitcoin like crazy and make everybody rich. Well, maybe not rich, depending on how much money you put into it. And if you're smart enough to do it early enough. Right now, as I speak, the last time I looked, Bitcoin was $10,700 a Bitcoin. People go, well, that's a lot of money. Yeah, but you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You could buy fractions of a Bitcoin, which means anybody can purchase it. I could buy Bitcoin for $1. I can. I've done it. But I'm not buying a whole Bitcoin. You can buy it for pretty much any price. There are limits to how much at once you can purchase it, depending on the app and who you're going through and how you have it set up. If you have it set up through your bank account and instead of a credit card or debit card, it is much easier to purchase the Bitcoin that way, and faster, but you can only do it in smaller amounts, and that seems to be the case. If you have a direct link to your bank account, you can purchase it in larger amounts. And you can buy the $10,000 if you have it. If you don't have it, there's no sense in even doing that. You're going to purchase $100 worth of Bitcoin, or 5 or 10 or $1. Well, then use the card. You want to purchase $500. I think it's up to like 1,000 or 2 in some of them, and it's still a decent amount of money they'll go up to. But yeah, you can do that, and it's a wonderful thing. Now, I'm going to state this. Bitcoin is also a wonderful thing for preppers. Okay, that's why it's on this channel, because it is a wonderful thing for preppers. Okay, imagine government doesn't have control. It's a way for you to use money if you are a sailor, if you are a prepper. This will help you out a lot. It is wonderful for you. You really should get into it. Even if it's not Bitcoin, even if it's an altcoin, like I mentioned them earlier, like Big Cash and that. These are all wonderful things for you to get into. Trust me. Get away from fiat. Fiat is crashing. If you're worried about the government going to kaput and the American dollar crashing, which it is, go to Bitcoin. Invest in Bitcoin. And you know what? For those of you that will say, hey, Bitcoin is a scam or cryptocurrency is a scam and a hole, I got news for you. There must be something to it if the big banks like Wells and Fargo and all that, and big major companies are putting millions and billions of dollars into it. Yeah, that money that the government sent to them to bail them out every time, where do you think they're putting that? And they're openly putting it into that. Okay? $2 billion, $5 million here and there, purchasing up Bitcoin. Yeah, they're doing that. If they can do it and they're doing it, well, it must be good. Okay? They see what's happening to the currencies, fiat currencies all over the world, and that's why they're doing it. Okay? Yes, you have some risk with Bitcoin. Let's say I have a hard wallet, which is a little thumb drive type thing designed to hold Bitcoin. If I lose it, I've lost my Bitcoin. Okay? It doesn't have the security that a bank is supposed to have, but the same thing happens with banks in times of need. So yeah, be smart and secure your Bitcoin. Other than that, you should be fine. And do it in multiple wallets. Don't do it in one wallet. Get multiple wallets. Get a phone or a tablet and put them in multiple wallets within your phone or tablet so that you can then purchase Bitcoin in multiple different places. Okay? This will allow you to purchase the Bitcoin. This will allow you to, or other cryptocurrencies, and it'll allow you to do that. And it's good to have multiple wallets. And if you have the keys for each and every one, it's a safety feature, okay? And you can have a couple of hard wallets and keep them locked in a safe or something where you have the majority of your money. You keep small amounts in these multiple wallets. There's a whole thing about doing that. Now, let's talk about TikTok. The other thing I want to talk about on this one. TikTok, I don't care how you feel about TikTok. And I don't care if you think it's a Chinese program. The fact of the matter is, okay, we had rules, regulations, and standards as Americans. And those standards have gone out the window. This is a problem. All right? When you have standards that go out a window, and I don't care what the next guy's doing, I don't care if it's another country that we're doing it to. Matter of fact, that is the worst excuse in the world. Because you know what? Saddam Hussein didn't have weapons of mass destruction. And look what we did there. You know what? If you feel good about that, you're a horrible human being. If you know actually what happened over there. And what is happening over there. If you think that's all great, you're either very not bright or you're a horrible human being. Okay, that's like the excuse. A couple years ago when Trump first came into office and they bombed Syria. They bombed Syria because they claimed Syria had used chemical weapons against their people. Well, guess what? Bombing their people doesn't help their people. I don't care. Killing the people that you just did that with different weapons doesn't make any sense, does it? It doesn't help them. Use your logic. Use your head. So when you actually, like I said, when you get into TikTok, well, we're supposed to be a free market here. That means the government really doesn't control it. They set guidelines that they're supposed to inhibit, okay? If they really cared about Americans' data for anything, well, then how about setting up some laws that actually protect Americans' data, and not just from, a Chinese government, which there's no law that's protecting them. We also have Facebook, Amazon, the platform I'm on right here, and they do buy and sell and use it, and that's part of using this. And for the most part, it's okay until they start notifying your bosses or of what your beliefs are or something like that, or they start notifying the police on you for your beliefs, because now we're arresting people in this country for their political beliefs. And I don't mean some guy that's out there do so. I mean some guy that might be coming here like I am and sharing his political beliefs. Yeah, we are. Take a look at Julian Assange and the name that shouldn't be named because it could get me demonetized. Yeah, they will actually shut down this thing if I say that too often. But yeah, he's being horribly mistreated. It's completely wrong, and I could go on about that on another one. I probably will make another one for that. If you post things that the government doesn't want you to, yeah, it's supposed to be First Amendment rights, freedom of speech, right? Freedom of the press. Well, the problem is nobody's protecting it. Okay, Biden or Trump, left or right, they're both against freedom of speech. I don't care what you say. They're only for certain speech, and they're against anything that's against them. Okay, they want to demonetize, censor, and stop that if it's against them. So you got one that's the right, one that's the left. It depends on which platform you're on. If you're a liberal Democrat and you're on Facebook, you're well. If you're a Republican or someone like me who's neither and goes against both grains, and you're on Facebook, you get shut down for saying the wrong thing. And the wrong thing isn't violence or anything like that. The wrong thing might just be simply exposing something that's happening in, oh, I don't know, Israel. Uh, there's a lot of stuff. Or saying something about he whose name should not be said, as uh, Lee Camp says. He doesn't put his name on the stuff because of that. So yeah, it's a time to become a prepper. It's a time to get ready. If you are a true American and actually believe in what America was supposed to be, well, then these things should bother you and you should be doing something about it. Me acknowledging this stuff is me doing that. Um, Selling off Bitcoin to an American company, forcing them to do that, that is not good business. I don't care who you think you are. It is not good business. Matter of fact, that might get TikTok pulled out of the country along with a lot of other businesses. And those of you who say, well, we can make everything here, try it. Really. I mean, try it. We haven't done it in so long, that would be a hard road. And not everybody has all the materials to make everything. You would actually have to, as the United States, have to declare war in certain areas of Africa if Africa pulled out because of the lithium and other chemicals and cobalt that's only there. The same with Venezuela, which we're already kind of doing with the illegal sanctions. And yeah, I say sanctions are illegal because all sanctions should be illegal. I don't care what your belief is on it. It should be. Because they're not good. They're only bad. And rare occasions would I have even thought okay before, but they're really not good because they only hurt the individual people, and hurting individual people like you and me isn't a good thing. Take a look at what happens now. But that stuff I will cover on another one. So, needless to say, if they sell TikTok, boycott it. If they ban TikTok, hack a way in. Find a way in. Get a VPN. Find a way to rig up a system that allows TikTok and bypass the United States government. Seriously. Bypass the US government. Get TikTok. I don't care if you have to go buy a Huawei phone. Matter of fact, I encourage that. Because that should not be happening. Even if you don't like TikTok, just put it on your phone, sign up, and say, here I am. If they ban it. If you are... if they sell it to an American company, everybody should delete the TikTok app immediately. Find another outlet. 2. I'm looking for people on other sailing channels. I want to set up something. Okay? If you're a big fan of RT or not, I don't care. But RT does something, and I think there's a couple of other channels where they have it live. Okay? And what they do when they have it live is it goes from one show to another show to another show to another show. So it's constantly a show. So it's like watching a TV channel on YouTube. And I want to do that with sailing channels. Okay? I want to get together with a bunch of people, and I want to work with them on putting together a bunch of different sailing channels. This is Sailing Prepper, so I do cover sailing to some extent. I plan on doing more as soon as I can. But I mainly cover prepping. Why? Because that's what I'm capable of right now. And I do want to switch over more to sailing. The way the world is right now, and me not being on my boat, I'm not covering sailing as much as I wanted. And some of this stuff seems to be more important. Okay, Bitcoin is the prepper's dream, and it is the one thing that could save the world, in my opinion. I'll say it. Financially, I think it could save the world. Anywhere else, maybe not, but financially, yes. All right. Famous words of one of my favorite people, Jesse Ventura. When the government lies, the truth does become the traitor. Sailing Prepper signing out.